children in every classroom. Doesn't matter if we're talking about a middle school classroom or even high school classroom. 7 to 8 children are struggling with some sort of a mental health issue.
School leaders and health professionals are now seeing a growing number of mental health concerns in elementary students.
Blount County Schools says it has 3 elementary school students on suicide watch at a single school. And system-wide, there were 266 major disruptions in elementary classrooms so far this school year. And those are just a few of the findings from a committee formed within the school system to combat mental health problems.
10 News reporter Emily DeVoe shows us they're presenting the findings to the school board tonight.
At the Blount County School System, Health Coordinator Mary Beth Blevins says they used to mostly see mental health issues in the high schools, but that's no longer the case.
At times we're concerned for their safety if they're doing things like banging their head, pulling their hair. Those kinds of things are new for us with our, what I call our little bitties.
There's no black and white answer for why schools are seeing more cases arise at a younger age. One theory has to do with the high neonatal abstinence syndrome rate in Tennessee, where a baby is born drug dependent. Many of those children are now approaching school age.
The jury really is still out about the kinds of consequences or the kinds of sequelae that may come from a child having been an NAS baby.
Nonetheless, the school system is preparing.
We are at the beginning of what probably is going to be a tidal wave of these students being in our classrooms. So we want to be very proactive and prepare for these children and give them the best opportunity to be successful in the classroom.
Blevins is part of a mental health committee the school system formed in the fall to find solutions to better serve their students mentally. One of the solutions they're hoping for is a higher number of elementary school psychologists, since the current ratio is more than 1,500 students to 1. Well above the recommended 700 to 1 by the National Association of School Psychologists.
We're hopeful that if we provide these services early, that they'll have a very productive, happy life.
The issues they're seeing are far from unique to Blount County, but they're hoping they can help lead the way in treating mental health in the classroom. In Blount County, Emily DeVoe, 10 News.
Blevins said when they presented their findings to principals at the various schools, they had a positive response. One of her biggest concerns is whether the school board has the finances, though, to fund the additional resources. If you or someone you know is struggling with the idea of suicide, there is help. You can call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at the number on your screen. We also have a list of resources you can find at WBIR.com, including referral lines, a crisis hotline, and emotional support resources.
The Sevier County Sheriff